Hey guys, welcome to this month's Family Life Google Chats. We actually had a pediatrician lined up for this month to talk about germs and getting sick and all, but her daughter got sick and she cannot join us. So we figured, why not just get together. Jennifer, our children's director at Seacoast James Island, if you aren't familiar with our church. Andy does a lot of stuff and focuses a lot of his time on student ministry. And then Toby.
Hey, guys.
I'm sorry?
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Oh, okay. Toby leads worship, heads up small groups and that sort of thing. So we're just going to get together and talk about Christmas, consumerism, Santa Claus, all that sort of thing. Now, you may think, wow, well, that only pertains to young family with kids that possibly could believe in Santa Claus, but I think that this is somewhat of a cultural issue with Christianity, and we know that Santa is not the true meaning of Christmas. Well, actually, maybe Toby does think Santa is the true meaning of Christmas. But we're just going to talk about this, have some open dialogue. Andy, if anyone is new to all of this, how can they access our 5-minute podcast that we have on iTunes?
Yeah, the easiest way is to go ahead and like us on Facebook. We have a Facebook page, Family Life G-Chat, James Island Family Life on Facebook. And on there, we put our 5-minute podcasts every 2 weeks, and then also our monthly G-Chats we'll post there as well. If you're a user of iTunes, you can always subscribe to James Island Family Life there and also get our 5-minute podcast.
Cool. You said that's the easiest way. Can you give them the harder way for those that like a challenge?
Yeah.
Well, there's a website that you can go to that hosts all of our content. Okay.
Andy, actually, what is Facebook? Can you tell us a little bit more about that for people that don't know?
All right, so let me start by asking you, Andy, how old are your 4 children? Simple answer. I want a straight up. Simple question. I want a straight up answer.
9, 6, 4, and 8 months.
Okay, mine 2, 4, 6, 8. Toby?
5, 3, and 1.
And Jennifer?
18, 15, and 13.
Okay, Andy, how many of your 4 kids believe in Santa Claus, not including Asher, because Asher doesn't know really much about what's going on in life?
None of them believe in Santa Claus.
None of them. So you're saying you have a 4-year-old in the house that does not believe in Santa Claus?
When I say that, she knows that Santa Claus is not real.
Okay. Toby, your 3 children, do they believe in Santa?
Yes.
All 3 of them?
Yes. Well, I think June doesn't really know Santa. She's only 1, so I would say she doesn't know, but Ike and Ruby, yeah, for sure.
Okay. Jennifer?
We all believe in Santa Claus in my house.
Oh, okay. My kid.
Jennifer just found out that Santa Claus isn't real.
Right,
Jennifer did.
right. So now we're working on our family. So my kids, my youngest Waylon, obviously too young to really know what's going on. William does. He's 4. Gwenny does not. She's 6, and Rosa does not. She's 8. So I want to ask Toby. Toby, you are lying to your kids. There's no way of getting around that. Is that a good thing? And if so, why?
I just don't think it's... what? Did you say one last thing?
I just said I'm lying to William, too. So we're in the same boat. We're both lying to our kids.
Oh, yeah. I don't necessarily think it's lying. I think it's encouraging an imagination and a thought process and how you can think about things. And it just doesn't bother me whatsoever. I grew up firmly believing in Santa Claus, and I'm totally okay with him not existing anymore. I mean, my brother and I both thought that. My parents went all out. I mean, they told us till we were like 8 or 9 that Santa Claus, was real. Just straight to our faces. So it's just one of those things when I found out, I was like, oh, okay. It wasn't like I was devastated like my parents were lying to me. I just got it. I was like, oh, it's kind of like a tradition, and that's what it is. Same way as they go, oh, hey, listen, you're going to get a shot when you go to the doctor today, but it's not bad. There's nothing. It's not a big deal, blah, 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 blah. And then it does hurt. It does hurt a little bit. It's not. It is worse than what you say, and I think the idea of just not talking about Santa Claus like it's some big deal just doesn't bother me. I definitely don't consider it lying at all. I guess.
So you're saying that you're not lying.
Yeah, I mean, Santa Claus is real in more ways than he's not.
So
The
you're
idea
telling
of
the
him,
truth. You're telling the truth to your
people,
kids.
the spirit of it, all those things are totally real, and that's just a culmination of the human spirit. So the human spirit's real, our imagination's real, giving is real, having an idea of a person who would work hard for even the lowliest of people is real. All those things are real. The thing that you're saying isn't real is that he actually comes down the chimney and blah, blah. And yeah, that's okay.
Okay, well, I guess I will own it then. I lied to my son William, and I'm okay with it, and I'll explain why later in a second. Jennifer, did your kids believe in Santa Claus growing up?
They did. They
Okay.
did, and in fact, I'm having a little audio trouble, but if y'all can hear me, then I'm good. Y'all can hear me fine?
Same audio trouble, but if y'all can hear me, I'm good. Andy, is everything clear since you're the conductor?
Yeah, we got a little just signal loss, but we're good.
Okay.
Okay, so in my house, they definitely believed when they were growing up, and we do kind of a strange thing. We kind of avoid the question now, like my kids will ask us, and I say, if you don't believe, you don't receive. That's what I tell them. And I mean, obviously they know there is no Santa Claus, but I have never said it straight to their face. There is no Santa Claus. It's like our family joke, actually. And they can't get Mom. I'm like a very, I'm characterized by being so truthful, kind of almost legalistic truthful. And so they actually think it's kind of funny. They try to pin me down on the Santa Claus thing, and I won't answer. It's just a joke.
So, Andy, let me ask you: when you say that your kids don't believe in Santa, is there like a belief system in place as to why not? Or I mean, it's certainly not. It's just convenient to tell them the truth. What's your motivation behind your 4-year-old not growing up and enjoying the same Santa that all of her friends are enjoying?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't say that she's not enjoying the same Santa Claus. I would say, yes, there is a belief system. Early on in our marriage, we talked about it. And anybody that knows me knows that I'm not a legalistic person. So it doesn't even really stem from a legalism standpoint. It's just a decision that we made for our family to bring clarity to the message of Jesus. This is something that we chose to commit to. And so, while Adeline, knows that Santa Claus, like Toby said, coming down the chimney is not true, we did tell her the story of St. Nicholas. We told her that that's where the fun and the festivities came from, but even that was birthed because of Jesus. And so, I'm not saying any family that does it differently than us is wrong. It's just something that we chose to commit to, and we've seen that our kids are not affected by knowing that it's not real. We tell them, hey, it's a game that we play. It's fun. It's festive. It's like the Easter Bunny. My kids know all characters and holidays are just fun and make believe. And they still. I mean, at times I wonder if they really, believe that they're not real. I mean, Andy obviously does, and Ainsley does, but Adeline, my 4-year-old, even though we've told her and been clear, there's a part of her that still believes, and that's okay. We don't fight that. We even say we still on the night before Christmas we read the Christmas, the night before Christmas book, and sometimes I've even gone out and like banged on the outside of the house and be like, oh no, Santa Claus is here, and even Andy, my almost 10-year-old, gets, oh, we got to go to bed, and he runs to bed, and so he still does everything, but they have a base knowledge that it's not real, and Jesus is real, St. Nicholas was real. So.
Gotcha. Jennifer, do you think the potential is there in what we would call a Christian household, so parents that are wanting to raise their kids up Christian? Obviously, you don't have a problem with the whole Santa Claus lie. Do you think the potential is there to put too much emphasis on Santa?
Oh, absolutely.
And how did your family avoid that growing up as your kids believed in Santa?
I tried to focus on Jesus more than Santa and on family and giving more than Santa. Like I always made sure that the gifts under the tree and the Advent activities that we did and talking about Christ's birth and all that was way overshadowed what was in their stockings. I mean, the stockings are fun and everything, but I didn't want Christmas to revolve around the stockings, which, I mean, for me, the stockings are Santa. Like, stockings equal Santa. Everything else is family and Jesus. Stockings equal Santa.
Yeah, I've always thought it was crazy when I think there's some families and every present is from Santa. I know I grew up, my parents actually, they had 2 things that came from Santa. The rest of the stuff came from them. I know another way that I at least attempt to not have emphasis on Santa when the kids as they were, or the girls as they were growing up, and William as he asks questions now, I always tell him Jesus is like the Mac Daddy. He tells Santa what to do. Santa answers Jesus. I think Priscilla thought I went too far with it one time. She's just like, so now when they find out Santa's a fake, are they going to think Jesus is a fake too? But that didn't happen with the girls. But I tell them, I was just like, yeah, Jesus created Santa, so obviously, Santa answers to Jesus. So Toby, Ruby is, she turned 5 in October. If she asks you today when you get home if Santa is real, how do you respond to that?
I guess that's a good question. I would probably say real, I guess. I just don't think I'd want to steal that from her because I just think it's cool. The same way as if, do you guys tell your kids, hey, when you just lost a tooth, so I'm going to put a quarter under your pillow tonight? Or do you, or would somebody go, hey, that groundhog, he didn't really see a shadow, and it's not going to be 6 more weeks of winter? No, that's not true. I mean, there's something fun and mysterious about just the story and storytelling and stuff like that, and just to keep that going for a little while. I mean, we tell kids they can be anything when they grow up. That's probably not true. They can't be anything they want to be when they grow up, but that's okay. I mean, encouraging kids is the broader picture is, man, there's something awesome about this human experience. So I think for me, to answer the question clearly, yeah, I probably would say, yeah, he's real, but the same thing y'all are saying, I mean, we do the same thing. Presents are from us. Most of the stuff is from mommy and daddy, and we try to turn it back to Jesus, that giving really is important and why, and that same as Andy was saying, I like that idea. There is a true story of Saint Nick. You know what I mean? Like that's true, and just the idea of giving and what those things mean, I think, are important to add to the story.
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying as far as
Joey. What do you tell your kids about the tooth fairy? Or they just don't get money?
I honestly, the tooth fairy freaks me out. I just think it's a whole freaky concept, and I think the Easter Bunny is a freaky concept. I told Priscilla early on, I was like, look, we are not doing tooth fairy, and we're not doing Easter Bunny. It's just too weird. Now Santa, I'm fine with, but we do the traditional tooth fairy stuff. But I have to double check. I'm pretty sure they don't believe in a real tooth fairy. I just think it's crazy. I mean, think about this. I mean, when I visualized the Easter Bunny in my head, I thought of this silent, gigantic mascot-sized bunny. Like, that's just weird. Like, that just doesn't make any sense. So I think Santa Claus is at least something they can kind of connect with. But
for the sake of debate, I guess, like, just hearing everybody's perspective, for the first time, we don't actually rehearse these things, and so hearing you guys, I'm obviously much further on the perspective of, being truthful from the beginning. But for the sake of debate, Toby said something. He said, "Well, I always believed in Santa Claus growing up, and for a long time, and I'm okay." And he's a follower of Christ and everything. I guess my challenge to that is every kid, every person is different. So when you have Toby may have not been affected by the doubt or the seed of doubt, like, oh crap, well, if Santa Claus isn't real, Tooth Fairy's not real. This kind of distant God that my parents have been telling me about may not be real as well. That may not be his story, but take Andy, my oldest. He is a realist, I guess, if you could pin that on a kid. He's all about what makes sense and order, and he likes his things to, everything in his life to kind of make sense and have its order. And so I kind of think if we were to take a loose approach with letting him believe in whatever he did when he was a kid, when he started to get to where he is now, where he really is exploring a little bit more in a deep way, the story of Jesus and this whole God thing, I think it probably would have affected him, even in the smallest way, planted a seed of doubt in him if then he found out, well, all this other stuff is fake. You know, he's just a deep thinker, and so I think in certain circumstances, certain kids, I think it does plant a seed of doubt when they find that out. And again, I'm not saying that you guys are doing something that's horribly wrong, but that's just my perspective.
Well, I'll add to that. I think Rosa and little Andy are similar in the deeper thinking. And when Rosa sat down and actually took the time to think through, okay, wait a second, some of this stuff just doesn't make sense. And she was 5 years old, and she said, "Dad, is Santa Claus real?" I just said, "Nope." And she was like, "Oh." And that was it. She's never believed in Santa since. I kind of feel like at that point, if I were to have said, "Yes, he is," and then started to answer all of her questions, well then who's to say she's going to trust me the next time she asks a question? And she's like, "Well, I don't know if he's being serious because he was telling me all this time that Santa is real." And I even asked him, I said, "Hey, is Santa real?" And he kept telling me yes. So I don't know. For me, it's even a trust thing. But anyway, so Toby, you're screwing your kids over big time, and you need to tell them the truth about Santa when they ask you, is what we're trying to say. I'm just kidding. So
this is actually an intervention.
What's that?
This is actually an intervention for Toby.
Yeah.
I think the thing about Santa Claus is so overblown, but I mean the truth is everybody has Christmas trees in their house, and they put presents, and they do all this stuff that is not anything about Jesus Christ's birth. I mean, why don't we all have a manger scene in our house instead of a Christmas tree?
Yeah, but I'm not lying about the Christmas tree. I'm not saying the Christmas tree.
No, but I'm just saying it goes into the same. It's still just the same idea of what is the Christmas tree, or we're worried that our kids are going to really be super worried about this stuff when. I mean, at the same time, I would say other people, my parents told me other things were bad for me. And then when I got to high school, I was like, oh, that's not so bad, so I'll do those. And they didn't prepare me at all. Yeah. Like, I think just kind of like the idea of Santa Claus is a good idea of giving. There's a lesson in all that stuff to be taught. So I guess if, like you said, if Rosa asked you straight up, if Ruby goes, "Hey, Dad, I really want to know, is Santa Claus real?" and she asked me straight up, maybe at that point, maybe I would say to her, "No, he's not real," in a way that would still explain why and the good of it. Maybe that would be more a better way to articulate it. I would articulate the good of Santa Claus and the idea of it and why it's fun and why people do it. But I mean, I just don't think there should be fear in Santa Claus. It's not. I remember I went to a church one time and they called it Satan's Claus, and I was like, come on, are you serious? I mean, it's just like. I mean, there's a lot of good. I mean, for all the
I was talking to someone today and actually said how.
Wait, but you don't actually think that Rosa and Andy think you guys are liars because you told them Santa Claus is real? I mean, that they will never be able to trust you again?
I think if I kept it going until she's 8.
Jennifer just said she's kept it going till now, and her daughter's 18.
She was kidding.
And Lucy does not think Jennifer is a terrible liar that lied to her about the entire Earth existence. It's not true.
But let me say something, though. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's interesting to hear, like you said, Andy, it's interesting to hear kind of everybody's perspective. In my house, it's like a game, and it's pretty clear because my kids know my husband, Mark, is super playful. So, like at the table and everything, he'll take a joke, he'll just keep it going. When my kids want a straight answer, they look over at me, and they know that I'm going to give them a straight answer. And so with the Santa Claus thing, it's with Santa Claus and, sorry, Joey, the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy, I've actually written Tooth Fairy notes and put them under the pillow. With those things, it is, there's a playfulness to that that is not present in some of the other parts of my parenting. I can pretty much be counted on to kind of tell them like it is on most things. And on those several things, I guess I kind of get a twinkle in my eye and I kind of smile and I don't answer them. I say, well, there's always something in my stocking, or, and I just kind of smile and I say, a friend told me a long time ago, she said, in our house we say, if you don't believe, you don't receive. So I started saying that and we would all laugh. And yes, my daughter's 18. She knows that there is no Santa Claus, but I've never told her there was no Santa Claus. She just knows. And but if she had asked me, directly with a serious face when she was little, I don't think I would have lied to her. I'm more like Joey and Rosa. That's kind of how I am, and also my oldest daughter. So I wouldn't have been able to look at her when she was 5 and say, yes, there is a Santa Claus. I couldn't have done that.
Yeah.
But I can be playful, and I can say, well, there's always something in my stocking on Christmas, and like literally just kind of lighten up, and I don't know. That's how we do it. So it's interesting, all the different ways the 4 of us talk about Santa.
And I will say, all joking aside, I really have zero problem with the lie of Santa, and I do think that I'm lying to my son. And I was talking to someone about this today at lunch, and I think that all of the law can be summed up in, as the Bible says, love God and love others. Is it unloving to allow your kids to enjoy the lie of Santa? I would say no. It's actually a loving thing. It brings joy and all that sort of thing. I think maybe where we all disagree on, or where me and Andy probably line up more in as far as how forthright and how far to take it and that sort of thing. So let me jump to a different topic, and just the whole consumerism of Christmas. And obviously, we all know that it's taken too far. When credit cards are charged and people go into debt during the holidays, and kids are just getting pretty much anything they want. Obviously, some families that's the case, not with all. How do you temper that? How do we keep our kids? Having a true spirit of Christmas, a true spirit of generosity, of giving, and not just being spoiled brats? And I want to give the floor to Jennifer, since arguably you've got a kid that, at the end of this year, she can technically move out if she wants, and you're done with having her under your roof. How have you attempted to steer Lucy in the direction of not being a spoiled consumer?
Well, I guess we always encourage the kids to start on their list for other people first before they started on their wish list, because I think it's normal for people to have their own wish list, but we always would ask, what they were getting others, and from the time they were little, they were always excited about what they were giving to grandparents and siblings and friends and stuff. So that was kind of a natural process. It wasn't really a fight to get them to do that. They did it naturally, but we kind of made sure it wasn't all about what they were going to get. When they were little, I don't even think they made wish lists for a while. It was when they got to be teenagers that they would start making lists. They got more specific in their tastes and everything, which I think kind of happens to all of us. I think that, y'all don't have kids that age yet, but as they grow up, they start being more particular about what they get. And it's a strange place to be, because I always remind them it's a gift. I'm not really checking off a list. I don't mind knowing what you love, but I'm not checking off a checklist. And what I try to do is watch them throughout the whole year and really get to know their little personalities, so that at birthdays and Christmas, Mark and I really kind of spot on do things that we know speak to them, things that they love. I want to know my kids. I want to know what they like. I don't want to have a list in order to know what's in their heads. So I try to do that. And Mark and I have a budget for sure, and we don't charge. We just do a certain amount for each kid, and we divide that between, like I said, lesser for the stocking and more for under the tree, because I want the under the tree to be, that's where we're all sitting around and giving to each other, and that's much more special. Yeah, I'd say much more special. There's a lightness and a fun to the whole running downstairs and seeing what's in your stocking, but ultimately they know we gave them that too. So it's just fun to sit around the tree and give gifts to each other. And we put the emphasis on that. We put a budget on it. We give them each three presents. So we limit it. It came from, a long time ago, it came from the three wise men, bringing 3 gifts. That's where I got that. And they each get 3 gifts. And then we give them a book as well and an ornament. And that's all they got, 3 gifts, a book, and an ornament.
Cool. Yeah, we our girls' school, they have like a Christmas store where parents send them with money to basically do Christmas shopping for people in their family. And this morning, Gwenny and Rosa, they get a little bit of allowance. We can talk about that in another episode. But basically, they get at least $5 a month, no matter what, and then maybe an extra $5. Depending on their behavior and if they've been doing things around the house and that sort of thing. So when we got the form about them being able to go to school and buy stuff for the family, I told them, I said, look, if you want to buy something for people in the family, you need to go to your allowance. I will give you an extra $5, but that's not going to go too far, so you need to use your own allowance. And you don't have to. I don't want to make them be generous. But it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. Andy, I want to ask you a question. Let's say it's Christmas night, December 25th, 9 o'clock. Ainsley is moping around the house. She sits down next to you and Miranda. She's obviously showing you guys that she's upset. Y'all say, hey, what's wrong, Ainsley? And she's just like, there's like 3 different things that I really wanted and I didn't get. How do you handle that?
I think well, it's funny you pick Ainsley because she's the one that we struggle with the most with I guess early signs of like materialism and kind of all that kind of stuff. You can kind of, you guys all kids, you can kind of pick that out from a young age. But I think that, for us, we put a big emphasis on, I mean, it's going to sound weird, but we put a big emphasis on how much mommy and daddy sacrificed to get them these things. Mm-hmm. We, not that we say, oh, daddy and mommy, we spent X amount of money on you, but we tell them, as they're creating their list. All of our kids make their own lists. Adeline, we help her, obviously, but the older 2 even write them out early on. Miranda starts Christmas shopping in August, okay? It's how my wife works. And so they make their own list. And from the beginning, we say, you're going to put way more things on your list than what mommy and daddy are going to be able to afford for you, but know that we're working hard, to give you, some of the things that you need. And so I guess we try to attack it at the front of the problem. And that specifically scenario has not happened, but if it did, we would, and it wouldn't surprise me if it did happen, but we would, just point them back to square one. But look, mommy and daddy work real hard to get you, the things that you have and the gifts, and Nana and Poppy, they do the same thing, and these things came from our heart. And so, I guess just pointing back to the basic lesson at the beginning that it's not about getting everything on their list. It's about appreciating what they do get.
Yeah. Toby, is there anything wrong, in your opinion, with the following scenario? A kid has a very extravagant wish list that's overboard, and they get absolutely everything that they ask for. Is there any good that comes out of that?
The kid's happy. I don't know if that's good. I mean, I don't know if anybody, I don't know how many people actually do that. So that seems like a kind of a unique situation. If a kid has an extravagant gift list, that's just on the parents, not the kid's fault. You know what I mean? Like the kid knows that they can ask for that and get it potentially. So I would say I'd more look at the parents like, why would you do that? Setting the kid up to get everything that they want and probably don't need, and also it probably doesn't show. Now, at the same time, if you add on to that, they had an extravagant gift list and they got it all, and then they still shared with their friends who were less fortunate, you know, with all their toys, invited people over to their house all the time. I mean, I don't know the whole story. That's just, I mean, yeah, it's not good if you get all the presents you want, but that's on the parents, not the kid.
Yeah.
I did think, though, one thing that's kind of cool is I'm going to take what you and Andy said, and so to prove that Santa Claus isn't real, I'm going to tell my kids that he's real, and then there just won't be presents under the tree. You know what I mean? And so then they'll just find out he's not real because they just didn't get anything. That's what Pastor Joey would do. Thank you, Pastor Joey.
Sure.
Yeah, see, Santa Claus isn't real. You didn't get any presents from him.
Your kids can thank me. How about that?
They will.
Jennifer, were you about to say something?
Yeah, I have a comment I was thinking about. You had asked me earlier, how do I keep the kids from getting way too wrapped up in the commercialism of Christmas or something. I forgot how you put the question, but and I was listening to what y'all were saying and Andy and the list and all that. I guess like when they're teenagers, it can be frustrating when you look at the list because you know you can never get everything on it. When my kids were smaller anyway, it was kind of a doable list. It was like a pair of pajamas and and they get bigger and your budget doesn't necessarily get bigger, but they're what makes them happy or excited, bigger kids, bigger toys kind of deal. So we could see that kind of start happening in our house. And 2 years ago, we decided to take them on a trip instead of all the Christmas presents. We don't do like a ton, but like all the Christmas presents. Whatever Christmas was going to be a trip instead. And we told them that the day before the trip. We took them to Washington, D.C. when they were, I guess, 16, 14, and 12-ish. And it's the best trip of our life. And they did not get that much for Christmas. They got a much smaller scale. It's not like we did away with the tree and the stockings and everything, but we definitely spent the bulk of the money on gas and food and stuff for the trip. And in Washington, the Smithsonian's and stuff were free, so it was not like an expensive trip, but the amount that we were going to spend for Christmas, we definitely spent it on that experience instead. Surprised the socks off of them. I mean, they got home from school on I think Wednesday afternoon, and we were going to leave at the crack of dawn on Thursday morning. And we had a little, I made a little sign and put it on their bed that said Merry Christmas from Mom and Dad. And we had I spent some of that money on a few things they needed anyway, like new pajamas and stuff, and so they could take those on the trip and some things for the car. So they had like a little package of some stuff for the trip, a card that said Merry Christmas, and then we left the next day, and we were in Washington for 4 or 5 days, and it was a Christmas like we will never forget. I think the experience was something that broke us out of that mold of here's my list, and I didn't get it all, because it was unexpected, and they knew they weren't going to get a list fulfilled, and it was a great gift anyway. Like, it wasn't even on their list, and it was fantastic. So that kind of broke us out of that mold of I didn't get all my stuff.
That's cool. I like that a lot. All right, I'm going to end us up with asking a question that I'm going to ask all y'all to answer, and I am going to stay out of it. But do you think it's important? I mean, basically we all know that all of our kids are going to get some stuff for Christmas. A lot of us have grandparents that are going to give them stuff, and they are going to get probably 99% more stuff than the majority of kids on the face of the earth. Do you think it is important for kids, I'd say 5 and up, to realize just how fortunate they are? And why or why does that not matter? Toby.
First of all, you look like Jack Nicholson from The Shining. It's freaking me out.
Okay, now you want to answer the question?
Sure. Why or why not? Is it important for some kids 5 and older to know about consumerism?
No, I'm basically saying your kids are very fortunate to get stuff.
Yeah.
Is it important for them to realize just how fortunate they are, or does it even matter?
I think it matters to an extent. I don't think that they'll ever realize it. I mean, to be honest, this is the day and age we were born in, so they're never going to really understand. Honestly, our kids aren't even going to understand what it's like to not have the internet, much less running water and, a shower, hot shower, and warm clothes and heating and air conditioning. They're not going to ever. It's so far removed that we can't. I mean, the things that we grew up with, struggling with, they'll have different struggles, but I think it's always good to point back to, hey, man, we have it great. I firmly believe that right now, even the poorest people in the world are almost the richest in the history of the world. And so, I mean, I think it is good to say that and to try to show them that. But I would say the way you show that wouldn't be, hey, you need to really realize, that you have it great. The better way would be to show them other cultures or countries or whatever it might be that don't have it the same way as we do, and how blessed we are, and what can we do to help those people that could use some good tidings.
To play Feed the World, the song
Yeah.
Feed the World?
Yeah, We Are the World, I think is what it's called.
No, Feed the World's the one that came out first. That was the U2 and Boy George and all them. That one came out on Christmas, and then We Are the World came out after that. Surprised you didn't know that. Andy, how about you?
Yes, super important. To tell them, because they're not thinking that way naturally. I don't think you should be overboard with it, and tell it to them every time they open a present. Now are you appreciating this? Because there's a little boy in Africa that doesn't get this. But I think that the best way, is to remind them during the season at some point. And then also to show them how they can help that. We've sponsored a kid in Ecuador for almost 11 years now, and our kids love doing that and sending letters to her, and we send her gifts every Christmas for her to open up. We do the whole angel tree thing. I think all those things are good, and involving your kids, it only opens up their eyes to that concept even more. It's not going to hurt. Are they going to be selfish little kids? They're little brats, of course. All kids are going to be kids. But I think we have a responsibility to point them in a direction of understanding, even at their young age, that they are lucky to have what they have, and other people don't, and we can be a part of helping other people that don't, even in a small way.
How about you, Jennifer? I like that. Jennifer?
I think that it may be that Christmas is maybe not the time to focus on that. I think it's more of a lifestyle, like throughout the year. I certainly am not going to say that you can't mention it during Christmas or this season. The whole spirit of giving and everything is part of Christmas. But as far as whether or not they're going to recognize how privileged they are during the Christmas season, I'm not sure. I think that's more like the rest of the year. Like if they want to build relationships at, for instance, there's a ministry downtown that serves lunch every single day. They open their doors and serve lunch every single day. And you can go there and you can sign up and help them make lunch and help serve it and talk to the people as they come and get the lunch. And if you did that on a monthly basis with your family, I think that would show them a lot more about the privilege that they live in than trying intentionally to squeeze it in during Christmas, like that lesson. Like I wouldn't choose Christmas to teach that lesson, but I think that lesson is inherently a part of Christmas. It's about giving to other people. And there's even catalogs that come to our house. I'm sure y'all get them too for like World Vision and such, where you can buy they show things that you can buy for people all over the world, like part of a cow, you know, a small animal. You can buy things that are sent to them for like feeding them or taking care of their family, like a cow that can take care of their family in many ways. Like you can be a part of that. They can look at that catalog.
They have cows that can take care of your family?
No, having the cow.
Oh, wow. I was like, man, we don't have it that good.
Sorry. See, we really totally don't practice these Google chats. Like, I don't know, I was kind of moved by the catalog that came to mind. I looked in there and I saw all the ways that you could touch and be a part of other people. Y'all are like rolling your heads. Look at you. All of y'all.
I'm listening intently.
Cows that take care of families. Just by looking at the catalog, I was educated on the different ways that people lived all over the world and how for $12 or $25 or $60 or like for $150 you could be part of building a church. I mean, you know, you like, anyway, I thought that was maybe a good way to show them.
Since nobody else can see, our live viewers don't actually see that.
Yeah, I hope that people can see Toby be goofy.
What?
They can now.
Sorry.
Nobody else can see this, so you're making us laugh and interrupting this program, and no one gets
sorry.
from the joke.
No, I put it on camera. Everyone saw it.
Jennifer, I appreciated your thoughts.
Sorry, Jennifer. I think what we've learned is there's cows that can help families. Santa
I'm
Claus.
going to get cows for Christmas, Toby.
What? Are there goats?
You can milk it, and you can butcher it, and you can spin off of it for Jessica for a coat. It can take care of your family.
All right, we're going to wrap up with a yes or no question, no explaining.
No.
Would it be cruel? Would it be cruel to say to your kids of any age, we're giving up Christmas this year, no presents, we're giving all of our money to the poor?
Would it be cool?
Cruel.
Oh.
Toby, obviously everybody listening, they get the fact that there's no explaining, so you're kind of between a rock and a hard place. But cruel, yes or no?
I mean, I guess I would say no.
All right, Andy, yes or no?
What?
Andy, yes or no? Cruel?
Yes, cruel.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I would say yes as well. Well, that wraps us up. I just want to let you know that Andy and Jennifer are great at following directions, and they can be pretty assertive with their opinions. I'm proud of them both, and we want to thank you for joining us on this Family Life G-Chat. Is there anything I'm missing, Andrew?
No. Just reminding people to join us on Facebook. And I don't know where that echoes from, so I'm sorry.
I think it's Pastor Joey.
All right. We'll see you later. Goodbye.